Hello everyone, I hope you are doing well and having a great Monday so far. This evening we're going to be just quickly looking at this clipper system that'll move through parts of the upper south right here, and will actually give some snow to some people into these regions, and then even further to the east throughout kind of later this evening into tonight, and then early tomorrow morning on Tuesday. And then after we get done discussing this right here, we'll be talking about yet another clipper system that'll move through into portions of the northeast later this week, mainly into the Wednesday through Friday time frame. And then finally we'll end the video with our kind of longer range forecast and looking at just the general pattern as we get further into December and just seeing what we may need to watch. So let's go ahead and get started with this evening's update. So now looking at radar here, and as you can see from this little clipper system here, we have some heavy snow actually falling in some of these areas into even northern Tennessee, southern Illinois, even southern Indiana, especially into western Kentucky here, even into central Kentucky. And as you can see, these areas right here is where the heaviest snow is falling. And again, this is a pretty quick moving system. It won't get a lot of snow to these areas, but again, you'll get some accumulations pretty quickly in some of these areas. It won't be a lot, like I said, but even some areas could see an isolated half inch or even 3/4 of an inch in some areas as it is falling now. And then in just 1 second we'll talk about how the system will move farther to the east, and areas kind of farther to the southeast of this area right here could see some more snow kind of later tonight into tomorrow on Tuesday. So first, starting off with the HRRR model, and this is the 20Z run from the HRRR here. And as you can see right here, if we go to right about now, you have that heavy snow, not heavy, but heavier snow kind of moving into Kentucky again, and then eventually into Tennessee as well. And then that band will start to widen just a little bit, and then that will move farther to the southeast, even giving snow to again some places into Kentucky, Indiana, maybe a little bit of Ohio, and then even into Tennessee. A pretty wide band here, a heavy kind of band here, but it is again going to be moving fast, so you won't get those major accumulations from this. And so that'll continue on to the southeast, and even some snow showing up for northern Alabama, even into northern Georgia as well late tonight, and then really into mainly late tonight, and then maybe even into very early tomorrow morning. And if we back this up again, snow up here into West Virginia, into eastern Kentucky, western Virginia, into eastern Tennessee, western North Carolina. And then as you go throughout the night and get farther into tomorrow on Tuesday, that band sort of reconfigures in here into kind of into the Piedmont of North Carolina, even into kind of northern South Carolina. You could have some snow potentially, and that band will deliver a quick snowfall for some of these areas again late tonight into early tomorrow, very early tomorrow on Tuesday on the 3rd. And so that band will continue all the way out until again early tomorrow on Tuesday morning, right before the sun comes up. You'll still have some snow hitting some of these areas, and the HRRR even shows some maybe some areas farther into even eastern North Carolina seeing maybe some flurries from this. And again, even into northern South Carolina, these areas could see snow. And then by tomorrow morning, that snow band has basically dissipated, and you do have a little bit of snow up here showing up, but that is most likely from the lake effect snow kind of towards the Great Lakes moving into these areas. But again, just a quick hitting little snow event for these areas. So it'll just be something to watch for sure as we get later tonight and see how that band acts kind of as it goes farther to the southeast. And now looking at the European weather model for some of our snow totals here. And so first starting out with really Iowa here. And so snow has already fallen into some of these areas, but Some of these areas could see a 1/4 of an inch to a 1/2 inch of snow, even into central Illinois, southern Illinois, even 6/10 of an inch into those areas, even into Indiana, maybe a 1/4 of an inch to maybe 3/10 of an inch, 4/10 of an inch. Missouri, eastern Missouri, 4/10, maybe 3/10 of an inch. Then as we get into Kentucky here, even a 1/2 inch to maybe even an inch of snow into some of these areas into Kentucky, and then Tennessee as well, a 1/4 of an inch maybe to 4/10 of an inch showing up in some areas, and that little bit of an area there showing 1 inch, likely I would say 3/4 of an inch. Then even into, again, a small section of Ohio, maybe a 1/10 of an inch there, just a little bit of a dusting of snow. Then into southern West Virginia, maybe a 1/10 of an inch. Into western Virginia, maybe a 1/4 of an inch or so. Then as you get into the Tennessee and North Carolina mountains, maybe some areas seeing all the way up to maybe even 2 and 3 inches of snow possible. And again, I did forget to mention this. This is through Tuesday, but midday Tuesday, but the snow will stop into these areas by early tomorrow on Tuesday. And then even into the Piedmont of North Carolina, seeing maybe up to 4/10 of an inch, maybe a 1/2 inch in some isolated areas. But again, this is going to be a quick hitting system, but you will have the chance to see a dusting of snow in some of these areas. And then again, even the areas into the North Carolina, Tennessee mountains, seeing over 1 inch or 2 of snow, maybe even 3 inches in some isolated areas. And now switching towards this other clipper system for the northeast United States, kind of in the middle part of this week to later this week. And so if we go to really tomorrow night and then early into Wednesday, this low pressure continues to move to the southeast and makes this kind of path through here, and then dives down and then dives right back up farther to the north. And so starting with Wednesday morning, places into northern Michigan, even into northern Wisconsin could see some snow from this, and then that system will continue on to the southeast and dive farther south. And then by Wednesday night to Thursday morning, you could already be seeing some places could be seeing some somewhat heavy snow into some of these areas, maybe a couple inches to even a 1/2 foot possible from the system itself. And so areas into Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, really the entire northeast could see some snow from this. And then that will continue farther to the southeast, or not the southeast, but kind of moving southeast. And that will again affect areas of Pennsylvania, New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Maine, just the entire, not the entire, but most of the northeast. And again, by Thursday morning, this low will be just north of really New York State, and so into Canada. And so that will continue on to the east and finally make its way kind of that switch off to the northeast. And much of the northeast could continue to see snow throughout Thursday as well. And then you could see some back end snow from that moving into some of these areas throughout Thursday night to Friday morning. And that system will pretty much exit the U.S. by sometime maybe Friday morning, but still some snow could fall even from the lake effect snow, and plus that kind of back end snow with that system. But this will be again another clipper system, another quick hitting event, but this system will deliver at least a couple of inches into spots and areas into the northeast United States. And now just quickly taking a look at some of these snowfall totals, and I'm not going to really I wouldn't pay too much attention to some of these exact totals, because this will change just a little bit as we get closer to this event. But on the GFS weather model, snow is expected throughout much of the northeast, and then even into Indiana, Ohio, Michigan, West Virginia, Maryland, even small sections of Virginia, then even into Pennsylvania, New York, even northern New Jersey, New York State, that is, and even into northern New Jersey. Connecticut, too, could see some snow. Even Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine. And the GFS highlights some of the kind of major areas that could see the most snow, really into New York State, because places into New York State will be getting lake effect snow again from this kind of system moving on out, and then you'll have that snow on behind that as well. But even into Maine could see places into Maine could see a pretty significant snowfall event from this. Even into New Hampshire as well, Massachusetts, even into northern Connecticut as well. Some of these areas could see just a pretty quick hitting snowfall event. But again, I really won't be talking too much about this because this will change quite a bit. And I did forget to mention, this is the 24-hour snowfall, so this is just a 24-hour period, not the entire period. So these totals will not be as high as if I did the total snowfall amount, because there will obviously be some lake effect snow kind of mixing in with this as well. But this gives us a little bit of a more accurate look at this event just with this particular system and not adding in those lake effect snowfall totals. But that'll be it for the snowfall totals. Now switching towards more of the long range, and just we'll be kind of breaking down the pattern and just looking at some of the potential systems we could see as we get later into this week and then next week as well. So first we'll start off with the GFS weather model here. And so as you can see, here's our system we were just talking about, this clipper right here. And then again, we'll move through in the middle period of this week, later this week, kind of into further into this weekend, and then I'll move out really this weekend, and then what we kind of need to watch is this other system after this system that could potentially move in maybe early next week. And so as you can see here, we have this system right here. And so again, this is just going to be something we'll have to watch. And this system has changed a lot over the past couple of days. The GFS has showed this a lot farther south, even farther north. But the signal is here for sure for some sort of stronger system that we've been seeing, a stronger system that we've been kind of been used to with these other systems, with them just being clipper systems and not as powerful. But what I'm really watching here is really a snowfall event or a snowstorm potentially for places into the Midwest and Great Lakes region. And so I'm not going to break this down too much, because again, it is pretty far out. This is 204 hours out, and we just cannot get into specifics with this just because it is so far out. But if we go back here, this particular run would give places into the Midwest a pretty heavy snowfall event. But again, I'm not going to pay attention to that too much just because it is so far out in the time frame. And then if we go to our 500 millibar vorticity here, and this just basically shows us where the system is and just shows the kind of energy, you could say, behind this system. And so we also have this other system farther to the south that'll kind of merge with this system that'll dive down here. And so again, there's our system we were just talking about. And so again, the GFS is pretty certain that we will have a system sometime early next week. The real question is how far south will this move? Will there be not cold, but colder air behind that? Will that get into the system in time for there to be snow for any of these areas, really? And that's just the main question. And so if we go we'll go to 180 hours out. And so the GFS is continuing to show some sort of system early next week. And then if we go kind of into this weekend, you obviously see it up here in the northwest United States. And so again, it's just been flip-flopping a lot. And so we can't really get a good forecast for this system, again at this range. And so now we'll look at the European weather model as well, and to see what it has to show. So same thing here. Here's our system into the middle and late this week, and then we go to this weekend, and then early next week. Here's our system, and this has this kind of main low pressure way up into Canada, and it has that energy farther to the south moving in and not really joining, you could say, with this other system. And so again, that will just be more of a rain event, and snow is just out of the question really, unless you would look at really lake effect snow. But the GFS does show more of a colder side of the system, and has that cold air meeting with that moisture, and would have that making kind of a snowstorm potentially. But again, I'm not gonna talk that to death and say that a snowstorm's gonna happen. That's not what I'm saying at all. But I'm just kind of showing you guys the potential system and what we need to watch as we get later through this week, and what we need to watch maybe early next week. And so now going to the ensembles here, and this just basically gives us an general idea of kind of all different members from the EPS ensembles combined to give us an average, and it's a little bit more reliable if we're looking more at the long range than just a single model run, like just a single model like the 12Z or 18Z or 0Z GFS or European model. And so if we go to the 12Z run here from the EPS ensembles, again, there's that signal for that system early next week. And so the EPS ensemble is pretty there's a pretty large spread here of just the kind of the location of this low pressure. And I think more of this area down here farther to the south with that blue area, and the blue area is areas of lower pressure, and the red is areas of higher pressure. And so that would have that other low pressure farther up here, and so you just kind of have that spread. And so we're going to have to really watch this for that system early next week, because again, there's just a lot that can happen between now and next week. So I wouldn't be surprised if the GFS kind of trends towards more of this right here, where we have more of a kind of just a system farther to the north and more of a rainmaker for the eastern U.S. instead of a kind of snow event for places into the Midwest. And so again, there's just a lot of spread here. There's no really general, or not general, but specific area of low pressure showing up on this. And so by early next week, I do expect there to be troughing into the central and eastern U.S., but it'll just be a kind of a guessing game on how long that'll stay around for, because it's just, again, too far out in the time period. But if that makes sense, I know I kind of mixed that up there. But now looking at the 12Z GEFS ensemble here, and so again, there's a system late this week that moves out. You have the area of low pressure farther to the south, and then you have our system here showing up on the GEFS. And so the GEFS has this system going a lot farther south, and that would meet up with that moisture and that cold air, and that would basically give that snow event to places in the Midwest. And you just have that low pressure staying mainly here instead of that stronger low pressure up to the north, and that one from the south kind of going into this other system, you could say, and kind of merging with it. So you have that more concentrated area of low pressure showing up there. And so again, maybe some troughing during this time period, so you could see maybe some more colder air coming behind that. And again, this will change a lot, and after that period, we'll really just have to see what happens as we get farther into December. And if you are a fan of cold weather in the eastern U.S., then you really want that ridge in the western U.S. and the troughing into the central and really eastern U.S. for the most part. But again, that'll really be about it for the long range. I know that was kind of a toss up there. I'm explaining it the best I can, but again, that'll be it for the long range forecast. So that's going to be it for tonight's update. I really do appreciate all of y'all watching, and I'm going to try to have another video up maybe in the middle of this week, but likely by the end of this week we'll have another video out, and even into this weekend. I'll try to make another video before that Clipper system moves into the northeast US, and this weekend I'll probably be focusing mainly on that system next week that we'll have to watch for that snow potential, and just the winter weather overall will be something to watch as we get farther into December. But again, that'll be it for tonight's update, and I really do appreciate all of y'all watching, and I hope y'all have a great rest of y'all's Monday.